Hello. There we go. Welcome, everybody. I'm here. I'm alive. Wow. It has been an interesting few days. Man. Um, when something's going on and you just something's going on astrologically, but you don't really think about it. And then you start to sort of look at it and you're like, holy shit, okay, everything with this full moon lunar eclipse was one freaking kicker, I'm going to say. And it had taken me a wee bit to get over everything. Um, Thank you for everybody's. I love it. People, okay. Number one, I really don't take vitamins. Never have taken vitamins. Vitamins never sit with me. I'll take them for a little bit, and then for some reason they either don't work or they just they make me sick. So I don't take a lot of vitamins. It's my system. Even when I was pregnant, they wanted to give me the vitamin B. She said, I'm really low on vitamin B. So she kept giving me the shot for vitamin B. And thank you. And happy St. Patrick's Day. Oh my God, almost forgot. Anyways, back to my story. And I got a shot like once a week for vitamin B. And it didn't change my levels. And she couldn't believe it. She kept on upping my vitamin B. She goes, why isn't this working? I said, vitamins don't work on me. I said, just tell me what to eat, just let my body process what it needs to process and it'll balance it all out. And that's what I did. Um, so I got a funny, I have a funny system. I always have. It's just one of those things. And I've been around, I've never had chicken pox. I've been around chicken pox all my life. Like, we used to have chicken pox parties. I never got chicken pox. My mom used to go to the parties all the time. I still never got the chicken pox. All my kids had chicken pox. We had chicken pox parties for my kids. I know that's a thing. Some of you may not know what that is. Um, and they all got chicken pox, but I never did. And that was one of the things the doctors thought it was. I I'm just weird. I'm just a weird person. Just saying, maybe it's true. I am. Maybe it is that I'm an alien. But anyways, this eclipse was really, whew, a humdinger. It took me through where it had me not do things. Just basically lay low, not do anything. They broke the mold when they made you. Thank fucking God for that one. But I just basically had to chill and whatever viral or whatever was going through my body just had to work its way through. And that's the whole thing with Virgo. It's all about physical self-care. And looking at where your Virgo is in your chart is important. And for me, that Virgo is in, where's my Virgo? It's 11th house. So looking at that 11th house, there's just a lot to do with self-care with myself, with how, community, and putting my energy into the divine and doing the divine will. I had readings this weekend that were booked a while ago for people, and I just couldn't do them. My 21-day journey group, I was supposed to meet with them on Sunday morning. There's just, I just like, it was just it was like my body was saying no, So just listening to it and doing that physical self-care. And that's so important. And also looking at what's in your 12th house. My 12th house is Gemini. And what the self-care, in my natal chart, but if you look at it from a Scorpio perception, my 12th house is Libra. And what, that energy with Libra in the 12th house, and then it's the Pisces house. So a lot of things you keep secret, a lot of things you keep underhand. It may, especially when it comes to relationships, very good at spiritual relationships and working in the spiritual realm and working with connections with the divine. But sometimes I don't have a spiritual connection or a personal physical connection with my physical body. And that's a big one, right? Is looking at what is that physical connection you have with oneself and how you take care of it. How do you bring that into balance in your life? And this is where, we've a lot is coming out, a lot is evolving within the world, and some of it that we are not going to really understand right now. Mercury's retrograde. When Mercury goes retrograde, it kind of speeds up. It would kind of does speed up. So it's going to be catching up to Venus. And oh, I don't know. Something weird just went in my eye. But this is where this information coming out won't be fully known. So there's things that are being written right now that are not going to be understood fully. We're not going to understand everything fully at this time. Um, I mean, and then other things are going to come out where of information that we probably may have known, like they've just came out and they're now saying that COVID came from a lab. And the information that's coming out in that perspective, okay, perspective, so all of this information is coming out, and it's trying to get through it, trying to moodle through it is going to be a little bit difficult. But then it's going to come back to, whew, how are you taking care of yourself, right? And where the other part is like, if you're Virgo and you have a Virgo moon right now, if your natal chart has a Virgo moon, and you have the Saturn opposition, that's a big struggle too. So a lot of times it's like looking at where your moon is in your chart, and how is that moon relationship are you having? So for me, my moon is in the 12th house, because I look at Placidus, and my moon is at 1 degree Cancer. So here comes this Cancer energy of wanting to take care of ourselves. And sometimes the thing is that with that Cancer energy, um, in the 12th house, is like you don't really take as well a care of yourself as you will everybody else. And with the moon in there, the moon is like really that internal core. What internally aren't you taking care of? And this moon, this lunar eclipse that we just had, is an awakening. It is one that is like whatever the crisis was, whatever was coming up for you at this time, it is important for you to really look at that. So for me, it's the self-care. It's taking care of myself, taking care of my body, um, and just not sort of pushing things aside. And that's huge. That's a big one. And this is where for each of you to really look at, so what are the things that were coming up for you during this time? And allowing yourself to shift with it, because we also have, with the moon is in Scorpio for the next 48 hours. It's really getting us to look at things in a deeper way. It's squaring over to Pluto. So things about shifting, things to pop out, looking at that internal core of what's going on within your world. And the thing is, the one with Pluto being in Aquarius is we could go down so many rabbit holes, and that's the whole thing for the next 20 years. You can go down so many different rabbit holes, try and find out the information, and still not really have the full answer. And the thing is that because the answer is with the divine and the divine will. So the energetic energies that are coming in, the light that's coming in, the new light that's bending into this earth and into our realm, is the divine is this divine energy that has us to surrender to it, to allow for it, to allow ourselves to know that if this is what I need to do, then this is what I need to do. If I need to take some self-care for myself, I have to trust in taking that self-care and not overthink the process. Meaning that sometimes when you are not feeling well, you won't take the self-care because you're worried, "Oh my god, I got to go to work. This has to be done and that has to be done." And you get yourself in a frenzy, and you don't do what you are meant to be doing. Divine will isn't like you just surrender it all and then it's like you sit there and you don't do anything. Divine will is like it's leading you up upon a path with love, but there are going to be things that you are going to be challenged with because of the ego and because of things that you were taught and the things that you were told to do or not to do in your life, right? And this is what it comes in. I need another brain transplant. And that's the thing, because if you're not listening, then what's going to happen, it's going to come back and it's going to keep hitting you. It's going to start saying, you got to start paying attention. If you're not paying attention, if you're not taking care of what needs to be taken care of, right? Then it's going to become more crazy. So this is all about removing toxins from your life, toxins that are around you. That's, 12th house, that's Pisces. What are the toxins that are coming up in your life? What are the things being revealed in your life? And this is where, dare I say it, common sense comes in. Common sense, that crazy things. It's like not going as deep and thinking that there's some crazy new age fantasia kind of nuance that is going to save you, right? This is also coming into a time of common sense. We're dealing with air. Air is not Air wants, okay, give me the, it's like earth and air. They want facts, they want information, they want the logic, they want, you know, earth science want to see it, right? I know the answer. I drag my feet. Don't we all? We drag our feet until we can't drag them anymore. So this is where a lot of shifts are coming in, and the shifts are getting us to really take a look at what are the things in our life that really need to have top consideration. And one could be health, one could be financial, one could be your relationship, one could be your spiritual health. What are those things? It could be that, no, I need to have more adventure in my life. I need to be able to get out and do things more in my life that I haven't done before. So per se, let's say you've never been to a, I'm going to put something easy on. Let's say you've never, you want to have more adventure and you've never been to a concert. Make plans to go to a concert, right? These are just opening yourself up. Where is that? Why have I denied myself from getting my hair done? Or, why do I put off going to get a physical? What are my fears on that? What are my fears of entering into a positive relationship or opening up a conversation within my relationship? What are those fears? Right? And that's the toxicity that lays within our lives, lays within the obstacles that keep us from doing that. And this lunar eclipse that we just had, which was extremely crazy, is getting us to really look at this. And then we're going to have a solar eclipse. And the other part too is that this eclipse was at the end of Pisces, right? So it was at the end of Pisces. And or near the end, 23 degrees. So this is like, and it was over all of the Americas. So it's like, okay, what is here it go. What's the toxicity in our world right now over the Americas? What is that that needs to be healed in our in from Canada all the way down to the tip of South America? What are the healings that need to be done here? Wow. And it's like oozing to the top, bubbly bubbly, and we're not going to understand all of it because there's depths, there's layers there. And Pluto is like, okay, you got to give it up, you got to do the forgiveness, you got to step into the love, and you got to go into the divine will. And sometimes that's easy, not sometimes that's not easy. It can be easy, but it's not easy because either we want accountability, or this is going to be too hard for us, or this is going to make me look bad and I don't want to do that. So we make up excuses for it, and look at those excuses and hang on to them. So we're embracing the changes. We're embracing the changes not only happening within our life, but in the world around us. I mean, we have um we got a new prime minister. I you know what I okay, off Mary's taking a detour. I mentioned the prime minister. That this guy he doesn't even know protocol. And he has no, I don't know, just no couth, no suave. He's just the word dumb fuck comes into my head, where he doesn't, I don't think he really he might understand business, very much so, and understand the money realm and making money and moving money and embezzling money and hiding money and whatever else there is to do. But he doesn't understand the politics and understand the people. So this is like really a person who's very disconnected from the position that he has stepped into, and what he's being held to at this time. So it's an interesting, it's going, I mean, it's going to be interesting to watch. That's for damn sure. Because the interest isn't for Western Canada per se. The interest is wherever the the old money is, and that's in Ontario and Quebec. So that's where his interest will be. I don't know. Can he speak French? Haven't heard him speak French. I don't know if he can. Um, Probably can, but I haven't heard him speak it. So, or he's probably done some crash courses, Duolingo. Maybe that's what he's doing right now. Plus, his first trip is back to Europe. His first trip isn't to see Trump or go to America. So his first trip is to go, that we're paying for, is to go to Europe. So he's got a European vacation coming up. But I mean, that's where a lot of, with Pluto and Capricorn, was all about self-responsibility and don't fall. Oh, he went to France. Is that where? Oh, he went to go see the bum buddy. And don't fall for the propaganda, right? Don't fall for the propaganda. Has anybody seen the Candace Owen about Macron and that's his wife is not his wife. His wife is a handler. Well, his wife is many years old. His wife started to supposedly date him when he was like 13 or something like that. So it's pretty gross. And that his wife is a man. Interesting. Interesting. You got to watch the Candace Owen thing. Um, so this is all about don't fall for the propaganda. Don't fall for the craziness. And that's where part of the healing has to come in, because so many people are just don't want to let go of what they have been told, or what they it reminds me of the gentleman and his wife who came in to the store when I was working, and they were so like, no, why would the government lie to us? And they were in their 70s, so they're boomers. And I was just like, what do you mean? Why wouldn't the government lie to you? The government lies to you all the time, right? But they couldn't get over that everything. His wife is a man. Yeah, his wife is a man. Yeah, you got to watch the Candace Owen thing. It's another thing. It's another thing that takes you down on a crazy dive. It's just like the things right now with the Ryan Reynolds thing that's going on with his wife, and the allegations that are coming out between him and another guy who just divorced his wife after 27 years. So, anyways, interesting. So it's the information that's coming out there. But that's the whole thing, is like so much of the scandals or the things that people have tried to hide, you can't hide them anymore. Right? There's if you continue to try and hide, if you continue to try and keep them hidden in some way, then you're going to find that they're going to come out in some ugly way. And it's quite interesting. It goes back to what I was talking about the other day, and the depths and the layers of things that have been hidden for so long, that the skulls and the bones are all coming to the surface, right? And it's like taking the responsibility for that, taking responsibility, but in doing so, it means that I might have to change. I might have to have a new way of thinking, a new perception, the whole thing, right? So it is this awakening, and not everybody wants to hear it. Not everybody wants, but the thing is, it's inevitable, because that's the way the world's going. It's it's like okay, I know. My guys are like, do your example, and I'm just like, oh gosh. It's like when we're gonna take Jesus, for example, because I have a more of a relationship with him than a lot of other gods. But it's like him coming on the scene is just, nobody knew who he was. People try to forget him. People try to say it didn't exist. It didn't happen. People try to I mean, look what's happening in Syria right now. Oh my fucking god. Look at how they just killed, assassinated over 800 people. Women, children. I mean, horrific, horrific. Just went in there and slaughtered them. And just in the name, because they're the only thing that they are is Christians, but nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants, it's like, oh, but they're Christians, they're Catholics. We don't want to know about that. But if it's anybody else, it's okay. We want to know about that. So this is like the information that's coming out. This is what's coming in. It's like the other thing is like, why are they keeping the Pope alive? Like there's things there that they're keeping him alive for some ungodly reason. And what's the veil? Like I just feel like, what was the veil that was put there, that the facade? There's a facade that was put there so that people don't really know that there's a facade there. People don't know that there's some kind of facade, some kind of something that was put there, so that they could do whatever they're doing, or whatever evil doing's being done. Yeah, that's interesting. It's oh yeah, it is interesting, because it's like it's very alien like, that came in, that put this facade up in the church. Where people, like, you got really good people here doing their thing and everything else, and stuff, and then you got this other, and some people are trying to hold on to the old ways of how it is, but then this new something over here wants to change it all, but then they have this token pope that's there that they still want to keep and prop up because they know that it's inevitable that this new change, and they don't want this new change to come in. This new change it means that they can no longer be the pop-up that they've been. Interesting. So it's like almost bringing it back to the bare bones, to the original, to what it is supposed to be. But when you got a lot of stuff going on, if you got a lot of power, are you wanting to let go of that power? Are you wanting to let go of all of that and go back to something that is basic, or they think is basic, but it's actually more powerful than actually what they have, because what they have is not real. It's only the illusion of this world, or made to be that of this illusional world. And they're trying to hold up that. So that's why they're trying to keep these pop-ups going. Interesting. Wow. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Might have lost people there. Little channeling just coming in there. That's just really crazy. But there's just, yeah, that's odd. That's just odd. Let's just say that's really odd of what's coming in. And that's what we're seeing within the governments. That's what we're seeing a lot within the world. There's these facades that have been put up, and it's where the curtain is being drawn, like the Wizard of Oz. You know, I've said that before. The curtain is being pulled back, and with the curtain being pulled back, what do you see? What's actually there? And that's what scares people, because then when we see what's actually there, that means our everyday lives and the things that we do need to change. Need to change, and how they change. And that's going to be the discovery of what we're going to be discovering over the next couple weeks, and the information coming in. Mercury retrograde is going to make it a little bit hazy, and plus he goes back into Pisces with Venus. So we're not getting it. We're not getting it all. We're not going to get it all till he gets back into, and that's not going to be for another 6 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks. So we're in some crazy. Yes, Mercury retrograde is for 3 weeks. But for him to come all out of that shadowy stuff when he goes forward, he goes backwards, right? He came where he is, and then he's going backwards, and then he's got to go back over it again, and then he's got to come out of that shadow. That's going to take about 6 weeks. Wow. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Let's find some other cards. What do we need? Maybe we need, it's let's bring in the fairies. Bring in the fairies. We need some fairies. Mateus has spring break next week. He just had a winter break, and now he's getting spring break. And then he only goes half day on Fridays. He doesn't go to school this Friday. And I looked at it. The longest time he's going to be in school is from May long weekend, after the May long weekend, till he gets out of school in June. How crazy is that? These kids these days, they hardly go to school. Honestly. They get so much time off. He said to me, he goes, I don't even know why I go to school. I said, are you learning something? He goes, yeah, I learned some multiplication and division today. It was fine. But for the rest of it, I could have been at home. I said, are you learning more reading and stuff? Are you learning any social studies? Yeah. And I said, well, are you guys doing the astronomy again? He goes, yeah, I know that. He goes, and I could just ask you. Okay. But it's yeah, I don't know. You know what I think the kids should be learning, and I think some schools do this already, is them learning how to do programming when it comes to computers. I think kids would love to do that, to learn how to program, make their own like little computer programs and stuff like that. I think kids need to learn how to do programming. They need to learn more of the tech stuff, and so just beginning at the basic of tech. And I think that's because kids, computers are the world, like it or not. So integrating that more into their schooling, and then they can learn more, and then starting to teach them more about money, banking systems, things like that. I think that's a good thing, that to understanding. Oh, and the next thing, going off on another tangent, is the bay. The bay will be no longer after 300 and what, 70 years or something. The bay is no longer. So they're liquidating all of the bays across Canada. And I'm not sure exactly when the closing date is, but they're in liquidation right now. And if you think of some of the spaces, and the bay is right now, the bay is Walmart too, but I mean, to draw people in, the bay is one of the last anchors for um for a lot of malls. And so we're going to start seeing a lot of things changing when it comes to the mall, because we've lost a lot of our big department stores. I think the last one right now is the Bay. And in the States, they have the Bay, the Target, but even in the States right now, Target and the Bay, and Walmart, I should say, are having trouble. J.C. Penney, Macy's, those Nordstrom's is having huge issues in the States. There, we have and Saks Fifth Avenue is another one. They're unable to pay a lot of their rents in the States, and we have a Saks here at Chinook. It's only open from noon till 6. Um, so you're going to find a lot of these big department stores no longer. So it's going to be, it's a very interesting change. And my thought is I should take a walk down there. Maybe on Sunday, after my Sunday afternoon, I'll try and do that. Um, Take a walk to the Bay downtown, our Bay downtown in Calgary here. It's a fabulous building, but it's haunted as shit. Um, and I'm not sure if they're open on Sundays downtown, but if it is, we can go for a walkabout in the department store. But it's the architecture and stuff is just absolutely fabulous. Anyways, I digress. But anyways, so our bay is going to be closing. So these are some of the big changes. Whoever thought the bay would be gone? It's been around for over 300 years, right? So we're in these transitional times. Let's pull out a fairy. What do we got? Express your individuality. Allow your true self to shine because you're awesome. Look at her. She's one of the red hat ladies. Have you ever heard of the red hat ladies? I think there's red hat and purple hat ladies. Yeah, she's just shining. She's got her moon. She's got her stuff there. She's got a little puppy down there. She's just doing her thing. Look at her shoes, her stockings, showing a little bit of her ankle there. Detailing on it. She's got her ring on. Just doing her. So this is, yeah, expressing yourself. How do you want to express yourself? How do you want to look? How do you want to, when you go out there? Right? And as you do it, flower power. Ooh, get yourself some flowers today. I was watching I was watching uh I think it was medieval times, and it was the techniques and stuff that they used to do for medicine in medieval times. And one of the things is that they used to put these like cheesecloths, big cheesecloths over the flowers. And what they do is like they do this for the early morning and get the early morning dew from the certain flowers. So they'd have different to get sort of the flower essence and the power of the flower, and they would then wring it out, and then they would give it to the monks, and the monks would use that in their different remedies. And the thing is I mean, this is like the essence, the healing power of flowers, right? Bach flower, right? There's so much there, like the essence of it is sort of the purity of it, and coming into that purity essence of what the flower can give you can help you to express yourself, using the different notes of flowers in perfumes, in what we, what we bring forth is just so powerful. Kind of like when we do tinctures and water in the moonlight and stuff like that. Very similar. But what they would do is they'd use the linen cloth, they'd put it, and then in the early morning the dew would be absorbed into the linen cloth, and the women would go out there and gather it, right? And then they would wring it off. And then certain flowers or certain herbs were only picked at certain times, right? Some were only allowed to be picked before dawn. So you could go out there and you could only do this before dawn. Some are only at when the moon is waxing or when the moon is waning. Um, Not if the moon is void of course, no herbs or anything were ever picked, right? Because you don't do anything when the moon is void of course, because the moon is void of course, it's offline, right? So the moon power, that moon energy that's there, and at certain times of when, if the sun is too high in this, in like midday is not the time to go out and gather certain things. So a lot of that to do with the flower power has a lot to do with even how we express ourselves, how we step out. There's power in the plants, right? And understanding that essence in the plants is very important. Understanding how to utilize that essence within the plants is important too. And with that, ooh, comes marriage. Marriage is a commitment, right? So that bondage, that not bondage, bondage, marriage and bondage, that bond, right? That happens with marriage. And that, within a lot of times people feel they can't express themselves once they get married. But marriage, what is that commitment? And the thing is, it's just like, but I put it this way, if you're in a committed relationships, if you're in a committed relationship, if you've been in a relationship, it's almost like you are married. It's like they call it common law. You are married. If you're in a committed relationship, that's the person that you're seeing. That's the only person you're seeing. You've been together for over a year. There is a contract. It might not be a written one, but there is a contract there. And many times the thing is that, the flowers that you choose for your wedding are important. A lot of women pick roses. A lot of people, Queen Victoria was orange blossoms because Prince Albert gave her rose blossoms. He got rose blossom tiaras made for her out of porcelain and rubies and everything else. Very beautiful, very exquisite. Um, so different flowers have different essence, different meanings, right? And bringing that essence and allowing yourself to express yourself with whatever that commitment is. Because there's also the marriage of oneself, the marriage to God, the commitment to God. When you see a priest or a nun, that that is their commitment to the divine. For a priest, they're married to the church. The church is the mother. So they're married to that of the church. That is their commitment. To sisters, their marriage is to God, because their commitment is to God. So it goes much deeper. But anyways, I digress. But anyways, what is that commitment that you are making, not only to yourself, but to somebody who's important in your life? And how are you able to express yourself in that commitment? How are you able to express yourself? And if you're not, maybe you do need the flowers. Maybe you need to bring in, go out and buy a bouquet of flowers. Go out and, allow yourself. There's a TikTok where a guy goes into a flower shop and he buys as many roses as they have. And he went around to senior homes and giving them out. That's an expression of love. That was, some people were just like, the people in the senior homes is like they haven't seen their family in months and weeks and years, or they don't see them at all anymore. And just that expression of love coming to them, a rose, was so meaningful to them. So in that expression of oneself for you, how are you doing it? And this moon is really, the moon in Scorpio is really like, let's get down to the roots of it. Let's get down to allow to that essence, that place where you are not wanting to dig up, that you don't want to see, that you want to just keep burying for whatever reason. But this is where the commitment comes in, and allowing yourself to see that commitment and step forward in it. There you guys go. Whew. God love the fairies. Fairies are so powerful. I mean, you go to Ireland, and you go to even different parts of anywhere in the UK or England. There's things they just know. They just know. Like, even with things that my grandmother did, there's things that you know certain things that, what did she do? She'd always have lavender around. She'd like to keep a skillet pan on the stove because she didn't like the fairies to come in and messing into um, um, a cast iron skillet pan. And then she'd keep shavings or parts of shavings of to keep the fairies at bay, because the fairies can cause havoc. But then she had great respect for them when you went outdoors, and when you went out with the flowers, and you went out with the connection, because that's where the flowers, the fairies are. You have the fairy mounds, and you have a lot of different trees that are connected to the fairy, and it's it's where many know that you just don't mess with certain areas. You just know. If you see, like, if you ever go into a park and you see um trees in a circle, right? I call, to me, that's like a little vortex of fairies that are there. And you see, if you go there, and a lot of times you see the kids just running in and out of there, and they're just having fun. And the fairies love that, because they know the innocence of children. Um, it's good and bad in that with fairies. But anyways, but the thing is that if you're going to go in there, I always ask before I do a mental ask before I go into something like that. Mushrooms in a circle too. I mean, and you try and get rid of that, you can't. Um, there's just this, and don't go stepping in the middle of a circle of mushrooms, because that can bring in. The thing is that people think like, oh, ha ha, but then they don't realize that it brings in a lot of bad luck. Where you could get financial problems, somebody could die, you could break a leg, other things could start happening within the family, and you sometimes you don't even put it together, right, until afterwards. So there are some things, when you're dealing with the fairies, you have respect. And today is Patrick's Day, and to have that respect for the fairies, because that's the other thing, is that, even when certain religions try to get rid of something, there's you just can't, you know so you adapt them to something else, so that the people can bring them in into the world as well, so, and keep them alive. So anyways, there you guys go. Thank you for being a part of my day, and have a blessed one, everyone, and we will talk to you hopefully tomorrow. Okay, bye bye, see you later.